And I think for me it was a seed, and up to today it is a special memory, and that's one of the reasons why I love Kenya a lot. It was my first experience, and I remember not having a lot of. We didn't have sponsorship, and thanks to Radio Africa, I think they were the main sole sponsors, but there are many things that were involved in that experience because I was rejected in many places, and I was told the jazz can't work in Kenya. You can't even. And I remember sharing a joke with the proprietors of Carnival that your guys sent me away that this can't work, but yeah, it worked, and we that's why we decided to go to Museum Hill, and that hall was very small. I told them I believe I can get more people. So it was a good experience. No one was helping us put it together, apart from, of course, the publicity and a few partners that came on the last minute. But it was a great experience looking at the diplomats having come. Many people complained they wanted more of the VIP tickets. We didn't have. We were not as organized. I don't think we were ready for the success that we experienced, but it was amazing. One of the things that I do as I do my music, and in fact, I have a program called Isaiah Katuma Beyond Music as my charity. I do this passionately because I think about the young people who have a lot to learn through experience. I have learned that technically learning music is not enough. You need a lot of experience. People who have done the mistakes, who have experienced certain things that you need after studying. How do I apply this? But also, I also acknowledge that there's a lot of influence that we have on young people as celebrities, as people in the limelight. But how do we effectively and positively impart on the younger people? Thirdly, I think that the limitations some of us had pushed us to get to where we are. Some of these people have the advantages that we didn't have. They just need to understand that they have a strength that we didn't have. But they won't acknowledge or celebrate it unless they have had the other story of our lives. And so what I share is this is how I've got to where I am. And I didn't have this, I didn't have this, but you have it. So what excuse do you have? So it is a talk that even though this was a music, these were music students and mainly art students, but I take this beyond just that. It is about the potential you have. It is about the talents you have. It's about allowing your parents to let you be if you can let them achieve what they want to achieve through you. So it's a balance, but in all, it's trying to use positively the influence we have on people who look up to us. Yeah, I think that can take a whole day. But one of the things that I can say, my background is very humble. I have never been to a music school. I have the first saxophone. I was making a joke with the kids yesterday, with the students. The first saxophone I ever played was not working, but I didn't know because there was no profession around me. In Kampala, there was no music school. There was no music store. We didn't. How would I get accessories for the saxophone? Never. And I remember those years. The only music store that we could think of, there were two. They were in Nairobi, Astanans and another one called Musicland. So there was a limitation of, first of all, no teachers, no schools. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have the internet access that people have today. But it had to happen. Uh, More limitations on a personal level. I didn't grow up with my father, not even with my mother, but although we were very close to my mother. So my guardian did what he thought was right, but at some point it became limited because I was driven by something much more. And as I pursued to look for people who can help me and get information, I had limitation because at some point you have to get some funding, right? I refused that to be a limitation because so where I wanted to go somewhere, even if I don't have transport, I had to foot. So it was in my head that I have to go where I have to go, with or without the money. But that worked out good. If I go into details of my stories, I remember my job, especially when I was doing my A level. I was doing sciences. I was doing physics, economics, and mathematics with a stroke of art. But at the same time, I was the head boy at the secondary school, and I was working Monday to Saturday between 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Now, Monday to Saturday means that some days I'll have to walk home, you know. And sometimes I don't even know how I managed to do that, but I did. There's some of the things that face surfaced as limitations, and of course, as you grow, they all change. Like my first album, going to store and they tell you this is bad quality, we can't sell it. And the question is, so where am I going to sell it if they can't sell it in Kampala, where I'm from? So such things provoked me to go deeper into reason. How can I improve what I'm doing? How will they accept what I'm doing? And yet I don't want to duplicate myself into something I'm not. I want to be myself. And again, when I started what I did, there's nobody that I looked up to in Uganda or East Africa that did jazz for me to look up to and say, I want to ask you a question, how do I do this? And that's the same reason why I want to be as available as possible to the people that are coming up. Yeah, this is me. Like you hear the title is the best expression that I could give myself, especially when I was preparing myself for the international platform. When I go to Japan and get an opportunity in the US or UK, I know that I'm bringing a new sound, and the best way I can explain that new sound is that this is me. It's got the African rhythms in there. It's got smooth jazz elements. It's got some passion because I've themed it love, but the best way I can describe my music in general is through the three elements that say I'm African, particularly East African. I'm, um, I'm influenced musically by smooth jazz, and I'm a Christian. So I try to implement those things in me myself, and I think the best way to be myself is, as I express myself, is being real, and those are the three elements are in. So this is me. When you hear the music wherever you are, you will know that this is some kind of East African sound. And I think also my the background of trying to feel that we are influenced so much by the West that we want to be something else. So for me on the plate, this is me. I'm not trying to be anything else. And I think that musicians, especially from this part of the world, need to also identify those things that define them, that make them unique, because we are different and we have a lot to celebrate and to sell outside, as opposed to just buying from outside. And I think East African sound has not been well sold out there. We celebrating the West African sound, we are celebrating the South African sound, but how are they celebrating our East African sound? Really, it's up to us, the musicians who are doing whatever we are doing, to try to be as original as possible. And for me, the sound is this is me. Oh yeah, my son is very gifted. Like I said, it's an honor to be the father. uh, yeah, I think he has a chance. The same thing that I'm trying to share with the young people that I see that are very talented. I want to start it from home, but letting him know that there's a lot you can give. You're only blessed to be this talented. You don't work for it, so you give it freely, and you share it. So the things that I've learned through my journey, I want to impart onto him, and I think that's the best thing that I can give to him. Of course, he's young, and we don't compromise on his education. I tell him that you don't even think about it. You have to do your music, you have to do your academics, and I think that that's the same thing that I would want to reflect to other parents that may have gifted kids. The education is crucial. If I was not educated, I would not be able to express myself, even though I may be able to do what I do. So it's an honor to be his father, and I think he's a fantastic son.